In this video, I'll be showing how to replace a radiator on a Nissan Sentra. It is located behind the front bumper. Let's get started. We're going to locate our battery. It's located on the driver's side of the engine bay. I'm going to use a 10mm to loosen the negative battery terminal. I'm going to wiggle it and set it aside. First, we're going to open our hood and locate our radiator cap. Before you remove this, ensure the vehicle is cool, especially if you've recently driven it. Just twist counterclockwise and set it aside. We're going to start off by raising and supporting our vehicle and locating our splash shield. There are 2 clips on each side. I'll be removing them with a trim tool. Now repeat the process for the other side. Now we could go ahead and locate the 4 10mm bolts on the front portion of the splash shield and remove them. Hold the splash shield up. And set it aside. Now that splash shield is out of the way, we could go ahead and locate our radiator. Here's our drain plug. I'm going to pull it out. Remember to have a proper collection receptacle under the vehicle so you don't make a mess. Now just wait until that completely drains out. Now that it's going to a drip, I could go ahead and reinstall my drain plug. I'm going to hold the nipple down while I turn clockwise. Just going to snug it up. Now I'm going to clean up any excess coolant. Now that my coolant's drained, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the lower radiator hose. I'll be using some angled needle nose pliers. I'm going to slide the clamp back. Secure it tightly and just pull it all the way back. Now release. I'm just going to twist and pull the radiator hose out. Once you see it's almost off, just go slowly again. And let the coolant drain out. Then we're going to go ahead and put a rag in the lower radiator port so I don't have any excess spills. And I'm going to clean up all this coolant around the body. Now that we're back in the engine bay, I'm going to go ahead and locate these 2 radiator hose clamps and one for the coolant reservoir. I'll be using some pliers to remove these. Just grip it and slide it down. If you're having trouble removing it, simply use a pick and go along the edges to break the seal free. Inspect for any damage and set it aside. Now I'm going to move on to my 2 radiator hose clamps. Simply slide these back. And now just twist and pull. That's one. And there's the other one. Next, see there's 2 10mm bolts holding the radiator hose junction. Simply remove those. and set it aside. Now I'm going to locate my coolant reservoir and the single 10mm bolt holding it down. Grab the hose and pull up at the same time to avoid any spillage. You're going to have to maneuver it out of the way. So you can go left and right. Be careful not to damage it. And we can set this aside. Now I'm going to move along to the upper radiator hose outlet of the radiator and remove this clamp. Set the clamp aside. Remove your hose. There might still be some coolant in there, so drain it out in a receptacle. Now I'm going to go ahead and remove my engine bay trim. I have 2 10mm bolts and some push pin clips. Set these aside. And now for my clips. I'm using a trim tool. You can set these clips aside. Now that my trim panel is off, I'm going to go ahead and locate 4 more push pin clips to remove my grill. I'm going to pull on the edges of the grill. Pull on the bottom until we reach the other side. Now we can set this aside. I'm going to move along to my horn and locate the 2 connectors. I'm going to push these pins down and pull out. Inspect for any damage or corrosion. Do the same for the other one. I'm going to get a trim tool to release the harness from the bracket. Now I'm going to go ahead and locate my impact sensor bracket and remove that with the 10mm. Now just set that to the side. I'm going to thread this back on for now. I'm going to move along to my 12mm bolt. Now we can set this aside. Now we can move along to our top bolt, which is a 13mm. I'm going to move along to this plastic trim and remove its push pin clip. Repeat for the other side. Now I'm going to grab a marker and mark along the core support. This is a way of proper alignment during reinstall. I'll do the same for the other side. Now I'm going to remove my 4 12mm core support bolts. There's 2 on each side. Set these aside and repeat the process for the other side. Pull these trim panels back and lift up your core support. Now I'm going to locate the passenger side trim panel and remove these harness connectors with some pliers. Squeeze and pull it out. And do the same for the bottom one. I could remove my panel. I'm going to slide this top portion out and pull the bottom side out as well. Simply just pull inward and then you can pull up. We can set this aside. Now I'm going to locate my other trim, pull it back, and reveal the other clip. Now I could undo the harness from the holder, slide it on top, and pull out the trim panel. Set it aside. I'm going to go ahead and locate my two mounting bolts. They are two 10mm. Now that those bolts are off, I'm simply going to slide the condenser up. I'm going to pull the fan shroud back, tilt it forward, and slide it away from the mounting tabs on the radiator. Just lean this forward a bit. Now I'm going to lead the radiator forward and locate my wire harness. It has a clip. I'll just pry this out with a trim tool. And now for the connector. We'll be using some needle nose pliers. Push down on the tab and pull out. Inspect for any damage or corrosion on the connector and set it aside. I'm going to go ahead and lift my whole assembly up. Be careful of any coolant spillage. Let's get this over to the bench. Now that we have our whole assembly on the bench, we're going to go flip it over on the shroud and fan side. I'm going to locate the mounting tabs. I'll be using some long needle nose pliers to remove them. I'm just going to simply push down and pull. Do the same in the back. You're just going to want to work it back and forth. So you can see now we have it moving. We can move on to the other side. Now we can slide the whole shroud out. We can set this aside. Now we can take our new radiator and our shroud, mount it over and slide it in. Align the tabs. So you can see our tabs are in line. Now we can just push down. As you can see now our shroud is secure. Let's make sure it's firmly in place. Before we get the radiator back in place, remember there are two rubber grommets. Make sure they are in place and not missing. Now let's go ahead and reinstall our radiator. Slide it down and align it with the grommets. And leave it in place. Now I'm going to reinstall the radiator fan harness. Push in until I hear an audible click. And for the clip of the harness. Make sure it's secure. Now to reinstall our condenser, we're going to slide this up and over. And then on the other side, push down. Now on top, there's two slots that the condenser slides in on the radiator. So push it in. Now I'm going to reinstall my two 10mm mounting bolts. Now that everything's bolted up, I'm going to take my coolant hose junction, install in this coolant hose, just slide it in, and line up the tabs so we can bolt them down. It'll be two 10mm bolts. And I'll just be stunging these down. I'm going to take my upper coolant hose, twist it on the inlet, make sure it's all the way seated on the groove. Same with this one. Now I'm going to resecure the clamps. To get my pliers, squeeze down. And go approximately where they were. As you can see, secure. Same for this one. And lastly on the inlet. Make sure these are aligned. And there it is. Now we're going to go ahead and reinstall our reservoir bottle. There's a tab down here that aligns on the shroud. And just make sure it's locked in on the tab down there and install your bolt. Get our 10mm bolt and just snug it down. Now I'm going to grab some needle nose pliers and reinstall my line. Push all the way in. And secure the clamp with some needle nose pliers. Now make sure it's secure. Now we can go ahead and install our core support. There are 2 rubber grommets on each side. These tabs will go over, so keep that in mind. Make sure the radiator support goes over. Now you can just slide it down. Now grab your bolts and line it up with the markings we made earlier. Snug these down for now. And do the same for the other side. Now do the same for the front bolts. Thread them in by hand and snug them down. Make sure the hood latch cable is out of the way. Now the torque spec for these is 18 foot-pounds. I'm going to start off by hand threading on my 13mm bolt. And then my 12mm bolt. Torque spec for these is also 18 foot-pounds. Now I'm going to go ahead and locate my impact sensor. To install this, there will be a tab that goes in this hole, so keep that in mind. Align the bracket. And install your nut. Now just snug this down. Now I'm going to resecure a harness. Since our connector broke, I'm going to use a wire tie to secure it. Now just cut off any excess. And we can move on to our horn wires. The brown one goes on top. Make sure you hear that click, and the black one on the bottom. Make sure they're secure. Now we're going to head and reinstall our plastic trim. Maneuver it down there. I'm just going to press in on the corners and slide it down. Tuck this one behind the bumper. Now before I clip this down, I'm going to go ahead and secure my harness. Push those in until you hear the click. Quick note, on the bottom of this trim panel, there are 2 plastic points that slide into the bumper. So once that's secure, just grab your clip and push it. As you can see, here are the 2 plastic points. I'm gonna go ahead and tuck this down. Then tuck my wires behind the trim. Slide this behind the bumper. Now let's go ahead and tuck our harness back. And our connector. Now for the clip. Make sure everything is secure. Now let's install our grill. Just line it up with the tabs and push in on all corners. Make sure the holes are aligned. And then install your 4 push-pin clips. You have 2 on the corners and 2 in the middle. Now for our trim cover, just slide it over and install your push-pin clips. Now for our 2 10mm bolts, 1 on each side. I'm just going to snug these down. Now we're going to raise our vehicle and support it again and reinstall our lower radiator hose. Slide it in until the bottom's out and grab your needle pliers. Reinstall your clamp. Make sure it's secure. I'm going to get my splash shield and reinstall the 4 push-pin clips, 2 on each side. Now for my 4 10mm bolts, I'm just going to snug these down. Now before you lower your vehicle, ensure your drain plug is tight before you fill it up with any coolant. Now I'm going to reinstall my terminal on the post. I'm going to slide over the terminal and tighten it down with a 10mm. You want to make sure it goes all the way down. And I'm just going to snug it up. You're going to wiggle it to make sure it's secure. So now we're going to go ahead and refill our cooling system. Feel free to use your old coolant if it's still in good shape. If not, recycle it. I'm going to go and fill up the coolant. I have a spill-free funnel. We could go ahead and squeeze the radiator hose. So now we're going to go ahead and run the vehicle. Run until you see no more bubbles in the funnel. Top off if necessary. After that, we're going to go ahead and remove the funnel, reinstall our radiator cap, and take the vehicle for a road test. After that, ensure there's no leaks and your vehicle is not overheating. Thank you for watching.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.